It's time for To the Max Sports, where we talk about sports. They're just two guys, Max and Drew, in a bar talking all things sports. Well, without the bar. And the beer. Wait, why aren't we in the bar?
Hello, and welcome to the Max Sports. You all know what time it is. Time for To the Max Sports.
There we go.
How you doing, Bob?
I've had better weeks.
Why, because summer's returning to San Antonio. It's supposed to be 95 Saturday.
Really? I didn't even look at the temperature.
And I think it cools down later in the week.
Yeah, it was kind of nice the last couple days to have to wear a little bit of a jacket, so that was kind of nice. But no, I was a little sad after Sunday night's game. That was not happy. No, not Sunday night. It was in the afternoon.
Oh, you're talking about your
yeah,
boys?
I'm talking about my boys. My 49ers losing to the Browns.
You know, I'm not worried about it. They'll be fine. They lost McCaffrey. They lost Dabo.
Oh, no, I mean, we had 3 injuries. So Trent
Yeah.
Williams went down, came back into the game. Debo was out with a shoulder. Christian McCaffrey went out with an oblique, though it looks like he's going to be back pretty soon.
Yeah.
No, and the reality is we still should have won that game. If Moody kicks a 41-yard field goal, we walk out of there with an ugly win, which I would have taken.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. It's not a big deal for them, and they still should have won despite not having a lot of their best players.
And Cleveland has a really good defense.
Yeah. Well, guys, we always give our picks. Stick around for that. As a matter of fact, if you would just listen to my locks, not our primetime picks, because we just do that because we can't do every game. But if you listen to my locks, you're going to make some money. I had Baltimore last week. Bob, one thing that's driving me nuts right now, and, we sound like a broken record, but I'm sure there's people out there listening. Feel free to comment, Apple, Spotify, listen on all that. If you want to hear my picks, just go ahead and hit like and subscribe and then rewind and don't listen to all this gibberish. But one thing that's driving me nuts, Bob, is the NFL officiating. It has gotten to the point where it's bad, dude. It's bad, and it's at the point where it's really affecting the outcomes. A lot of these games, it's when the officiating, to my point, is 10, creeping up to 20% of what's going to happen as the final outcome of the game. That's scary stuff.
I mean, if I'm going to take a measured attitude about it, and I have my own personal axe to grind on one particular call from this past weekend, but the officials in the NFL are in a bad place. They have to make sure that player safety is prioritized. So a lot of these calls that I think we all have issues with are, calls about, bad hits. The one that I have an issue with was one which was not a bad hit. It was actually a good hit on a defense on a receiver who was getting ready to hit the ball. He did not lead with his head. He did not go into the helmet. It was a good shoulder to shoulder, and they still called it. The problem is that's not reviewable. That should be reviewable.
And you're kind of getting to where I want to go with this. Baseball is probably the one sport that's got it right. One of the reasons why is they can do a replay. It's not a contact sport, so it's very easy. You're either safe or you're out.
Mm-hmm.
Basketball, football can be a little bit subjective, but with the technology nowadays, you're wearing a headset right now. I'm looking at you.
Yeah.
Are you telling me that I can't be the eye in the sky voice from the heavens that can say, Bob, pick up the flag, you call pass interference, and it was a good hit? That took me, 10 seconds?
Well,
10 seconds.
The problem is the way the rules are structured.
But that's what I'm getting at. Let's change the freaking rules.
No,
Let's fix this.
And I'm all for that. I have always advocated, I don't think I have wavered whatsoever in my own opinion, that there needs to be an official in the booth looking at all of the feeds who is part of the crew, not an advisor to the crew, but part of the crew. It's their call. It's not a bunch of guys going under a hood to review it on the side of the field. It's guys actually in a room where they can see it all, and they don't need to go under a hood.
Yeah. I mean, I look at these war rooms, you look at these grandstands, and you got offensive coordinators, and there's like 20 assistants in there for each team. You know, when you watch
I-
these,
yeah.
why can't there be a team of referees or one guy sitting in there, you know, changing the play real time? Because it really is, it's affecting the scores of definitely some games.
No,
And
absolutely.
even the outcomes.
And though taking a larger attitude, I'm going to say that the officials aren't biased against one team or the other. It's just the way it is. And I'm going to go, okay, one week it's going to be bad for me. The next week it's going to be bad for my opponent, and just go, at the end of the day, it's going to come out in the wash. It does need to get better. I would wish the competition committee could look at something like adding a member of the crew in the booth and doing it that way, and also expanding what can be reviewed. Because, yeah, I mean, everyone on that broadcast for that hit on that receiver in the 49ers game was like, that's a good hit. And Shanahan's pissed, but he can't throw a flag because that's not reviewable.
Yeah. I saw Geno Smith got sacked, and, you know, it was a clean hit.
Yeah, and right now it seems like they are prioritizing quarterback safety again, and it's looking like there's a lot of judgment calls about whether or not the defensive back or lineman is landing with full weight on the quarterback, whether or not it's roughing the passer. And those are back-breaking penalties, because those are typically on, you know, 3rd and long.
Yeah, and all of a sudden they got the first down.
And all of a sudden it's an automatic first down. It's 15
killer.
yards, and it's killer.
Yeah, And some of these plays, too, where a guy gets called for interference, and the receiver would have had to have been the size of Wembanyama to catch the football.
Yeah.
And they so, you know, you chuck down a ball 40 yards. No way. Yeah, maybe there was some slight bumping, which is going to happen when you got two guys running down the field side by side at 20 miles an hour, whatever they run. And then all of a sudden, you know, it went from 3rd and 10 to 40-yard completion, first down on the spot of the foul.
Well, there's a lot of rules in college football that I don't like. One of the things that I do like in college football is a pass interference is not placement where the penalty occurred.
Yeah, I like that.
It's like a 10 or 15 yard and automatic first.
But, you know, with the NFL now and the scoring so low, they're probably never going to change that one. Matter of fact, what is New England, the Giants, and Miami have in common?
They all play on the East Coast.
Well, that.
And they've never had dinner in my kitchen.
Well, the Dolphins scored 72 points in one game, I believe it
Mm-hmm.
was. That's the combined total points that the Giants have scored in their season, and the Patriots in their season.
Oh yeah,
It's crazy.
It's been crazy, and yeah, I mean, during the regular season, we're going to see a lot of PI calls, and that stuff will get a little bit looser once we get to the playoffs. That is the normal ebb and flow of an NFL season.
Well, we're starting to see a little bit of shakeout in the divisions. I guess the Cowboys won their must-win game.
They almost lost that game.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, the Chargers didn't look good. If you're a Cowboy fan out there, I'd be a little worried.
Yeah, this wasn't a game that I would say, Cowboys were back. I mean, you could say, well, the red zone defense of the Cowboys held them, but I think the Chargers, they look terrible. I mean, Herbert, you know, missed a couple wide open receivers, so I don't think it's all free and clear for the Cowboy fans, other than the fact that Philadelphia, which is leading the division, has a hellish schedule ahead of them.
And Philadelphia is not looking good.
No.
I mean, I think, okay, I'm biased.
They're looking
so
okay.
I mean, they're looking okay, but I'm biased, but I'm going to throw out the Cleveland game and say that San Francisco still looks like the best team in the NFC.
Oh, without a doubt.
Maybe the Lions, but I have a problem elevating the Lions to that level, given that they really haven't had success in their history. Right. So that's always kind of a hill you need to go over before I can
Correct.
trust you.
Offensively, I would definitely give the Lions the lion's share of what you're talking about. No pun intended. Their defense is, even their defense is good. They got that kid from Michigan State who's a beast.
And they're going into Baltimore this weekend, and they're an underdog again.
Yeah, anytime you go into Baltimore, at home, you're probably going to ride as a dog. That's just a fact of life.
Yeah,
now that's a test. We'll see where Detroit's at. They're on the road against a tough Baltimore team, which to me continually underperforms. They're the Vikings of their division. It just you look at the stat line and you're like, wow, Lamar had 60 yards rushing. He had 260 yards passing. He completed 21 of 33, and there's the fumble on the 10-yard line when you're ready to score. Or there's the interception in the end zone. On the Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, so
that division's wide open. I mean, anyone from Pittsburgh to Cleveland
anyone
to Cincinnati,
other than Pittsburgh. I mean, I think Pittsburgh may eke out a winning season, but again, I have called that. I call that division preseason as the toughest division in football.
And I still stand by my feelings that the AFC
East
with the Patriots, even the Jets now have kind of, I think they've formulated a game plan around Zach just to say, please don't lose us the game. You don't even have to win it. All you got to do is maybe just show up.
Yeah,
Can you do that for us, Mr. Wilson?
That is a stout defense who befuddled Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, but you can't rely on your defense for 17 games to win 17 games.
No, not over the course of the season. It's offense will get you into the playoffs. Defense will get you through the playoffs.
That's an excellent analogy, Bob. So, Bob, you kind of came back down to earth. You went 1-3 in your primetime picks, but that still has you at a healthy 12-7.
I'm okay.
I'm starting to reach that 500 bar now.
Okay.
I was 3-1, so I popped up to 8-9. But if you listened last week, my lock, which was not a primetime game, the one that I put my money on, was Baltimore minus 3.5 overseas.
Okay.
In Tottenham, England, mate.
Tottenham.
I've got a lock. If you'll listen later, got a lock this week.
Okay.
So do you want to get into baseball, or do you want to get into our picks? You want to stick with the football stuff?
Let's talk about some baseball because it's pretty big news if you're a Texas guy that
stick around for our picks in NFL.
The Rangers and Astros are pretty much duking it out, and it looks like the Rangers for the first two games got out to a lead and then hung on, and then this past one, Game 3. I expected Scherzer to have a bump, and he had a bump in the second inning, and then the Astros didn't look back.
I didn't have a lot of confidence in the game, but I actually put a little coinage on that game. I took the Astros.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought Scherzer coming back. I said they're going to give him a low pitch count. I figured that, the longest he would last would be 5 innings, even if he pitched well. So then I figured the Astros could get into that Ranger bullpen, but hey, it was pretty easy. But, having said all that, the Rangers still popped, 5 or 6 runs?
Yeah, they did.
So they're a dangerous offensive team.
They did. And my God, I mean, this is not a very charitable thing to say, but is Altuve an escapee from the Lollipop Guild? He looks tiny.
He weighs $165, and man, can that guy put a pounding on the ball. They said he hit 3 balls to the outfield. One went over the fence for a total of 1,215 feet. That's coming from a guy that's 5'7", 5'8", if you're nice, I think, 165 pounds.
There is no way he's 5'8".
He's got more career hits at this stage in his career than Pete Rose.
Really?
Isn't that something?
He's listed as 5'6" on Wikipedia, and I think even that's generous.
Yeah.
Okay, you're going to go Willy Wonka?
I'll go Willy Wonka.
By the way, this Christmas season, we get a third Willy Wonka movie.
I can't wait.
We get a third Willy Wonka movie, but
it's only good if Gene Wilder's in it.
It's not. It doesn't have Gene Wilder.
Is he still alive?
I don't believe so. Actually, let me...
My condolences. Maybe they could put him back as a bit part.
Yes. He left us like 7 years ago.
So I guess we can't bring him back.
But
is Biden still alive?
Nice. At least he's not under 4 indictments. But there we go.
Weekend at Bernie's. Weekend in Jerusalem.
So, I mean, Altuve, that one hit that he went into the dirt to get that ball. That ball was 9 inches off the ground, and he was reaching out for it. Now, Altuve is a lot closer to the ground than, say, like a Derek Jeter.
Yeah.
But that was just insane.
Yeah, he's a fun ball player to watch.
Yeah.
Look out for the Astros. I mean, if they win at Globe Stadium, is it tomorrow night? Is it tomorrow night? Maybe. Look out.
No, we get another game tonight.
I think the Phillies play tonight, don't they?
Yeah, I mean the Phillies are back in Game 3. No, the Astros and Rangers are tonight as well at Globe Life Field.
Man, speaking of offensive juggernauts.
Oh my God, the Phillies are killing it.
Yeah, but it's Arizona. Arizona, kind of the slipper fell off, Cinderella, and the Phillies were in the World Series last year. Of course, I picked them at the start of the season last year to win the World Series as big underdogs in that division, and of course I'm a year late, dollar short.
They're not underdogs now, and man,
what a starting pitching lineup though. They got Nola and was it the one Zach Wheeler, your former Met, who I really love. That's a tough 2 combo to get by in the first part of a series.
Well, yeah. Well, and then you have Schwarber and Turner and Harper.
Oh, God.
I mean, that is a murderer's row.
Yeah.
It's easy to pitch when you're home and you're taking the bump at the in the top of the second, and you have a big lead already. It's like, it makes it easy. Yeah, just get through the top of the first and you're fine.
Then you're coming into that stadium as kind of a new face in the crowd, and you got to deal with those obnoxious Philly fans to boot. So it's just.
That is, I heard somebody say that is the loudest outdoor stadium for baseball they have ever been to.
Wonder how many car batteries they sell during the game.
Oh, they coat them in ice. So,
speaking of which, go ahead.
Batteries and ice? You have a story about batteries and ice?
I have a story about batteries and ice, but I have a story about batteries.
Okay.
A lot of them are happening in stadiums, man. I used to pull them up. I'd have to dig deep to find one. You'd show the video. Dude, every week in the NFL and in baseball, there's some fan getting their ass kicked in the stands, in the concourse, in the parking lot. I know that in most major league games, they cut off the alcohol in the 7th inning. Do you think we're reaching the point where they're going to start cutting off the alcohol in the 4th quarter of these football games? Because, fans are getting the hell beat out of them.
I mean, maybe we should love our fellow man. I mean, it's like one of the top 3 rules. It's love thy neighbor as thyself. And I don't think I'm beating myself up.
But these are grown men wearing some other grown-ass man's jersey on their back with a name on it, beating the hell out of each other. So, hey, guys, it's a game. Okay, so get a life. Quit the fights. Enjoy the game. We got kids out there.
Yeah, leave.
I know you love your team, but good Lord.
Leave the fighting for the soccer hooligans in Europe.
Yeah, leave the fighting for hockey, where at least they got some equipment to protect them.
Well, and the reality is that I think there's probably a lot less fighting at a hockey rink, in a hockey match.
I've never seen the fans. I've seen the fans. Let's see, what I love about hockey is the fans will say, "Screw you, I'm going to fight the hockey player." But I don't see a lot of fight in the stands amongst the fans at a hockey game.
No.
But football and baseball, man, these guys are out of control.
Yeah, well.
Any more thoughts on your baseball?
Maybe it is alcohol. No, I'm still pulling for the Rangers. I think the Rangers are going to do it. I do have an internal bias. I do not like the Astros. I will never like the Astros. I'm kind of like Captain Kirk and the Klingons.
Yeah, you kind of like New England and the Astros, just teams you forever hate.
Only because they're cheaters. Or, to be a little bit more measured on that, they are teams that were cheaters in their past, and that will always be a taint on them.
Yeah, there were teams that really didn't have to do what they did in order to win.
Yeah, that was a crazy part.
That's the crazy part about it.
I mean,
so let me ask you this. We're on cheaters in New England. Is Belichick a genius? Does he still have that genius label? Great coach? He's closer to the most all-time. This is an interesting stat that I didn't realize till the other day. And he had Brady for most of his career. He's closer to more all-time losses as a head coach. He's got 8 more to go to beat Reeves than he is to all-time wins as a coach.
Yeah, and I'm going to give credit where credit is due on Belichick. I do still think that he is a great, and he is on the Mount Rushmore of great NFL coaches. He is great on the field. He is great in strategy. He's great there. The problem with Belichick, for me, from my opinion, is he has too much control over that organization, and it's taking his focus away. For me, it's taking his focus away from the field. I wish he would relinquish some of his front office responsibilities and concentrate to the field. Get a better offensive coordinator in there. I think that's also, he's a defensive-minded guy.
I've never been they got Bill O'Brien, and I've never been a fan of his.
Yeah.
Ever.
I mean, again, I'm going to show my bias that I have always said the greatest coach of all time is Bill Walsh. And part of that reasoning was
for innovations, yes.
For innovations and his coaching tree. That is the one thing I will always ding Belichick on, is he has no coaching tree.
Yeah. Well, that's true. You got Sam Weiss, who innovated the no huddle. He came out of that Walsh family.
Yeah.
No, that's a good point. An underrated coach of all time actually was Don Coryell.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he revolutionized the entire
him
game. And you can argue that he was the original West Coast offense kind of guy.
Yeah, and the dig on Walsh is going to be, well, he had Joe Montana, he had Dwight Clark, he had Jerry Rice in Jerry Rice's early years. But
can I put out a secret memo here? Great coaches usually have great players.
And great players typically have great coaches.
Yeah. So, you want to get into our picks? I got my lock, but do you have the picks for tonight? I know we got Jacksonville
tonight.
They're getting a lot of prime time, aren't they? Jacksonville this year.
Yeah, which
double games,
which is insane. I don't particularly care. Nah. Jaguars on the road in New Orleans playing the Saints. New Orleans is favored by a measly 2. So whoever you pick this game, you're thinking they're going to win it outright.
Well, they're hiding. Supposedly there's going to be an announcement on Jacksonville's quarterback. What's his name?
Sunshine? Trevor Lawrence?
Trevor Lawrence. Supposedly, but the guy's been practicing all week. My philosophy is if you practice all week, you're playing. Maybe this line will change. They're going to make an announcement here in a couple hours, I think, about whether he's playing. I'm going to go on the premise that he is. First outright pick of the year for me in our primetime games. Give me Jacksonville outright. They seem to be trending in the right direction, scoring some points.
I'm going to another game where I hate that we've locked ourselves into just picking the primetime games, because I don't want to pick this game because I don't care. These are two teams in the South divisions that I think the South divisions are the wasteland of the NFL. Just because I don't want to lose ground to you anymore, I'll go with you on the Jaguars getting the points. I don't feel all that confident either way on this one. I
got Bob on the defensive. I'm making a run at him.
Well,
are you?
I'm going to play. I'm going to play not to lose.
Yours is the points, not outright.
I really don't care. I mean,
hey, you get an extra point if you call it outright.
Though the reality is if you're going to pick the Jaguars with the points, you may as well just take them on the money line.
Yeah, 2.5. Yeah.
Yeah. So. Okay, so transitioning to Sunday night, this should be a good game.
Should be.
Miami on the road at the Eagles. Now, they're saying it's going to be about 62 degrees, so it's really not a hostile weather environment for the Dolphins on the road. The Eagles aren't being all that impressive. Now, the Eagles have a good defense, but the Dolphins have a lot of weapons. Philly's favored by 2.5.
Give me the greatest show on non-turf. Give me the Dolphins. They may have Jalen Ramsey back on defense. I think there's a game-time decision on him. I like Miami in the points at a hostile Eagle environment.
The Eagles have won ugly this year, so if they win this game, they are going to win it ugly. So it may go down to an end of the game type of situation and win it by 1 or 2. So I think the points are good in this, but I think the Dolphins have a lot of talent. It's just a matter of whether or not the Eagles defense showed up. Now they showed up against the Jets, even though they lost that game, but it's the Jets. I like Tua. I am a firm member of Tuanon, so I like Tua. Give me the Dolphins.
He stayed upright and healthy this year, which guess who's out for the rest of the year? We called it before the draft because of his style. Anthony Richards, gone for the year.
Yep.
You got Bryce Young battling injuries. The other one who seems to have been stayed healthy and upright is Stroud.
Yep.
And he's having, he set the NFL record for the most starts as a quarterback as a rookie without an interception. He finally had one last week.
Yeah.
So pretty impressive.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with Tua and the Dolphins. Okay. Last game of the week. 49ers on the road for a second straight week at the Vikings in Minnesota. San Francisco's on the road and a 7-point favorite against the vaunted Minnesota Vikings.
See, here's what sucks. If you're getting that many points at home and you're capable of scoring points, which the Vikings are, I like the 49ers to win. I know I'm going to be saying, why did I do this? Cousins screwed me again. But when you got a team at home that's capable of scoring points, which the Vikings are, we can't argue that. It's just how they lose points. Give me the Vikings +7 and then shut me up before I change my mind.
I'm looking forward to this game. I mean, 49ers, okay, it is on the road. Now, they did go home. They had an extra day, so they slept in their own beds. Now, we're going inside again. One of the problems for the 49ers against the Browns was that was a shitty-ass field and shitty-ass weather.
Yep.
A lot of Purdy's problems were, I think, due to the weather.
Yeah.
So
that game doesn't bother me a bit.
No, it
You know
doesn't.
the Browns have one of the top 5 defenses in the NFL.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They go into the Cleveland Browns Stadium against one of the top defenses in hostile weather, lose two of their arguably their best players, and miss a 40-yard field goal.
And they still should have won that game. So I'm fine with the game, but I'm getting to the point where I think Purdy and Shanahan are really going to light it up again. I think there's going to be a lot of offense on the 49ers side. I'm a little worried about the line being 7 points. That seems to be a trap for me. I like to buy the juice and move this a little bit. Yeah. So if we just win by 1 touchdown, I'm not worried about winning against the Vikings. I'm worried about that line.
Yeah, I could see this being a push game, where it's 21-14, 38-31, 49 or something like that.
So now – yeah, so, no, give me the 49ers. I'm going to lay the points.
I already wrote it down. I didn't even have to wait. So you want my mortal lock? This is my money game, the one that I will put a little –
Let's see. I'm trying to think. Well, you already talked about the Ravens. Did you talk about the Ravens?
Well, we talked a little bit about Detroit going in there and that being a test.
Okay, so who's your mortal lock? Because I don't know if I see any games that I would call a mortal lock in here.
I love Seattle giving 8. At least I got the line at 8 against Arizona. Arizona +8, Seattle at home.
Really? Really?
Yes.
A Cardinal team that beat the Cowboys.
Okay, that's why I like Seattle even more.
A divisional game.
Doesn't matter. They lost their running back, Connor. The offense has sputtered big time. Since the Cowboy game, they played awful last week. They had 6 points, I think.
Okay.
That's my lock.
Put me down for a 4th game this week. I'm going to bet against you on this one.
Okay.
Give me the Cardinals and the points on the road in a divisional game. 8 points, too much for the second tier of the NFC West.
So what we'll do for fun, and we'll actually do it, no pizzas. You want to do a crisp $20 bill, and we hand it on air?
Okay.
All right. That'll be fun. For $20, for a big 20, Bob has Arizona +8. I got Seattle -8.
That's a big number. That is a big number.
That's the bait line, I know. But I could see Seattle winning 33-10. Really, I don't think it's going to be a close game. The other one that I kind of like, just because they have so many offensive weapons, they got Pitts, a tight end, they got Drake London, who's playing well, they got that double-headed running back monster team, and they got a quarterback that absolutely sucks, man. But give me Atlanta. This is a soft bet. Give me Atlanta plus 2.5 at Tampa Bay. That's my other pick. And if
that's an interesting one.
If they just, whoever wins that game is the division leader. They'll be the division leader.
Yeah,
which is insane. But I picked Atlanta at the start of the year.
It's one of the South divisions where good teams go to die in the NFL. Yeah. And then the Buffalo on the road 8.5-point favorites at the Patriots. I'd take Buffalo and lay the points, but I'm not gonna say anything more than that. I'm not gonna put that game down, but that'll be interesting. Okay.
All right, Bob. Well, good show, folks. If you stuck around to the end, please hit like and subscribe. We don't ask for money. We just ask for you to push that button. We're on Apple.
Love and adulation.
We're on Apple. We're on Spotify. We're on all that good stuff. We sound even better in your car, so listen to us in the car. Until next week, OHIO, go Spurs.
Peace out, Wemby.